You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
It's the central question that drives the main theme of The Matrix. Accept what has been determined for you, or decide to make your own choices. The red pill versus blue pill question can also be seen as free will versus determinism. But doesn't Neo choose which pill to take? So isn't he exhibiting free will? But everything that he's experienced up until that point has been programmed by the machines. So is his choice really his own? If we take this moment at face value, then Neo's really just making a choice for himself. But perhaps what makes the difference is the fact that he believes that his life is not predetermined. This concept of free will versus determinism permeates throughout the entire trilogy, and we're constantly left wondering what exactly is choice, and does anyone really have the ability to make choices for themselves, free of outside influence? Though choice is generally a straightforward concept, Matrix muddies the waters a bit, making us question who exactly is in control, the one making the choice, or the one proposing the choices. So the question of whether we have free will or are subject to determinism is a matter of perspective. If we accept that we have no control over our futures, then we really don't. The debate between free will and determinism is thousands of years old, dating back to ancient Greek philosophers. To keep it simple, free will is the belief that a person has the capacity to choose between different possible courses of action, free of outside influence. Determinism is the belief that all events are determined by pre-existing causes. Either way, a choice is ultimately made. But free will and determinism represent different perspectives on the mechanisms of that choice. Through free will, any choice a person makes is entirely their own, depending on what their desired outcome is. Through determinism, a person only makes a choice based on their prior experiences, interactions, traumas, education, or just entirely external circumstances. So Neo either decides on his own which pill to take, or that choice is entirely decided by his experiences within the Matrix or his interactions with Morpheus. When they first meet, Morpheus asks Neo if he believes in fate.
Do you believe in fate, Neo?
No,
Why not?
because I don't like the idea that I'm not in control of my life.
Neo's answer is interesting. He's implying that the only reason he doesn't believe in fate is because if he did, then he would have no control over his life, meaning he would have no free will. In this instance, fate is synonymous with determinism. While he's still plugged into the Matrix, Neo's entire life is determined by the algorithm of the Matrix. So if Morpheus poses the red pill versus blue pill question while Neo is still plugged into the Matrix, does he even have free will to choose between the pills? Of course, the question is being posed by Morpheus, someone who's no longer plugged into the Matrix. But Morpheus is the one posing the question, not making the choice. To better understand this dilemma, let's think about what exactly Morpheus is offering Neo. Taking the red pill leads to the real world and the truth, while taking the blue pill leads back to the Matrix and the lie. To complicate this further, at this point, Morpheus already believes that Neo is the one. He believes in the Oracle's prophecy, meaning that he himself believes in fate. So when he gives Neo the choice of pill, is he really letting him choose? If Morpheus believes Neo is the one, then he already knows that Neo will choose the red pill. If Neo chose the blue pill, then he wouldn't be the one in the first place. So whether or not Neo is exhibiting free will is entirely dependent on whose perspective you're inhabiting. Neo thinks he's deciding for himself to take the red pill. But Morpheus already knows that Neo's going to take the red pill, so Morpheus posing this question in the first place is the illusion of choice. Actually, speaking of choice being an illusion,
Everything begins with choice.
No, wrong. Choice is an illusion created between those with power and those without.
the idea here is that a choice is given by one person and made by another. In that sense, the giver is the one with the power. When Morpheus gave Neo the choice between the red pill and the blue pill, Morpheus had the power because he was the one offering the choice. Generally, we tend to think that the ability to make a choice gives us agency and the ability to choose our own path, which in turn gives us power over our own lives. But the true power comes from being able to offer a choice, because the giver could decide not to give the person a choice at all, or they could choose what choices that person has. What would have happened if Morpheus had only given Neo the choice of the red pill? It may have been a similar choice, but with fairly different circumstances. And then Morpheus may not have gotten confirmation that Neo was the one. That was kind of the whole point of the choice in the first place. except for the trace program. The giver of the choice can decide what the stakes are. The choice can be rather inconsequential, or it can literally be life or death.
There are two doors. The door to your right leads to the source and the salvation of Zion. The door to your left leads back to the Matrix, to her, and to the end of your species.
But here's what's interesting about that choice. How the architect presents that choice can be interpreted differently depending on the person making the choice. Objectively, the door to the right leads to the source, and the door to the left leads back to the Matrix. But the architect puts his own subjective spin on this choice, saying that the door to the right leads to the salvation of Zion, and the door to the left leads to the extinction of the human race. But Neo interprets this differently. To him, the door to the right leads to continued human slavery by the machines, and the door to the left leads to Trinity, the woman he loves. So based on these two different interpretations, both the architect and Neo believe that the right choice is pretty clear to them. Yet what each of them perceives to be the right choice is different. The interpretation of our choices and their consequences matter because they determine what we choose. It can be argued that this is evidence of determinism instead of free will, because our experiences in past can determine how we interpret these choices. Neo interprets these choices differently than the architect had intended because of his own personal experiences and connections. Now, all of this gets really confusing when we start talking about the Oracle. Is she a guide who helps Neo and the others make their own choices? Or is she just another system of control designed to create the illusion of choice? According to the architect, the Oracle is an intuitive program designed to investigate certain aspects of the human psyche.
Candy?
You already know if I'm going to take it?
Wouldn't be much of an oracle if I didn't.
But if you already know, how can I make a choice?
Because you didn't come here to make the choice. You've already made it. You're here to try to understand why you made it.
What the hell does that mean?
How has Neo already made the choice if it hasn't physically happened yet? Once again, this is a matter of perspective. The Oracle was designed to find a way to manipulate humans, since the architect couldn't figure it out using equations alone. The Oracle can turn human behaviors and tendencies into algorithms, which can allow her to predict what a person might choose to do. Based on the machine's experience with humans in the prior 5 anomalies, they can, for the most part, accurately predict what choice Neo will make. Of course, the architect was unable to accurately predict what door Neo would choose because he was unable to understand what effect love has on the human psyche. So when the Oracle says that Neo has already made the choice, she's not saying that he's already physically made the choice, but that his experiences have already determined which choice he'll make. This is textbook determinism. The Oracle and the architect, taking the other 5 anomalies into consideration for what Neo will choose, fails to acknowledge Neo as an individual. The assumption is that because Neo is just another one, that he'll make the same types of choices as the previous 5. But ignoring individualism as a factor actually indicates that free will exists. Though Neo fits into the equation like the other 5 anomalies, he still makes a unique choice, one that he recognizes as entirely his own. Now, we can't talk about choice without talking about the final sequence of the final fight between Neo and Smith.
You must be able to see it, Mr. Anderson. You must know it by now. You can't win. It's pointless to keep fighting. Why, Mr. Anderson? Why? Why do you persist?
Because I choose to.
Though Smith continuously probes Neo for a reason as to why he continues to fight back, Neo ignores the why and goes right to the heart of his persistence, his own free will. Smith wonders if Neo's persistence might be for freedom, truth, peace, or love, all of which can be legitimate interpretations, depending on the perspective. Neo is technically fighting for all of those reasons, but in the end, it doesn't really matter why he's fighting. When the Oracle talks about Neo needing to understand why he made the choice, these potential reasons that Smith lists are certainly ways to understand his choice. But if he were to accept any of those reasons, then he'd be playing directly into determinism, preventing him from truly making his own choice, free of any outside influence, including freedom, truth, peace, or love. Because once Neo makes the choice to fight, it no longer matters why. And in that moment, Neo is making a choice independent of any external forces, and free of any why or reason.
You were right, Smith. You're always right. It was inevitable.
So if free will versus determinism ends up just being about perspective, then what exactly can we take away from this? Going back to the red pill versus blue pill question, choosing the red pill might be seen as choosing freedom. But Cypher certainly didn't feel that way.
You call this free? All I do is what he tells me to do. If I gotta choose between that and the Matrix, I choose the Matrix.
To Cypher, taking the blue pill actually meant freedom from the truth.
Ignorance is bliss.
So if it really is just a matter of perspective, then who cares? Well, whether you believe in free will or determinism, or some combination of the two, it's undeniable that our choices can tell us a lot about who we are. Even if you believe that every event is determined by pre-existing causes, our choices can still tell us a lot about our past and what led us to those circumstances. That is why the Oracle insisted that Neo try to understand the choices that he had yet to make.
Then why can't I see what happens to her?
We can never see past the choices we don't understand.
Are you saying I have to choose whether Trinity lives or dies?
No. We've already made the choice. Now you have to understand it.
Ultimately, he did decide to save Trinity instead of Zion. The reason was twofold. He loved Trinity, and he knew that saving Zion was really just an illusion the machines created to maintain control over the humans. And understanding the reason he made that choice helps him realize that he's not just another anomaly. He's not just the sixth one.
He is the one.
What do you think about this concept of free will versus determinism in the Matrix? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this video, please drop a like, and if you'd like to see more video essays like this, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.